Good morning, evening, afternoon, and night. Hope you're having a great day. So, today we'll be creating a MetaHuman. I will be bringing it into our world and we'll be able to interact. So, let's say hit E
Hello there.
and it
Looks
begins to
like you're
talk.
lost. This place is called the test environment. It's no ordinary realm. It feeds on curiosity. It thrives on your fears. You feel it already, don't you? The cold, crawling deep within your skin.
You can walk around as well.
Don't worry though, you're not the only player here. Nah, you're the prey, but don't worry, you're not alone. They're always watching us. Always watching. Waiting. The question is, will you survive the experiment? Try not to die, okay? Bye.
Hi. We can walk off. We can walk off, So, we'll get this working and some of the issues that I've come across, like the floating feet, because I didn't retarget it to the skeleton correctly. Um, in the video, we'll fix this and we'll get this working perfectly. Um, so let's get started. So I'm going to pause this, delete everything, and we'll start again from scratch. Okay. So see you in a second. Okay, so I've deleted everything in the scene, and we're just back to there's no MetaHuman in here. So what we need to do first is you need to, of course, to create a MetaHuman. I'll leave that part up to you to research and find out how to do. I'm not gonna show you how to use the what's it called, MetaHuman creator. There you go. Again, make sure you use make sure it's compatible for the version you're using. Um, I think the last one you can go to is 4.27 and the latest is 5.5. Um, so you launch that, you create your MetaHuman, and then from there you'll be able to, um, you know, import that through the Quixel bridge. So if you don't have Quixel bridge, you're going to have to install that too, and then you can bring in your MetaHuman. Also, you need the following. You need the MetaHuman plugin. You can find this in the Fab Store. So MetaHuman, and make sure you install that MetaHuman plugin as well. So now you would say add to library. Then when you go to your library, you just say install to engine and choose what version that you're using. Okay. So let's go to a new empty scene, blank scene. So let's just go new scene, basic. So we have nothing to distract us, right? And I'm just gonna move this our player starts over here, right? Because I want the MetaHuman to be zeroed in the world. So I'm gonna start with going Quixel Bridge, and it may say you get that pop-up message about the transfer to the new Fab store. So you can use one of these existing MetaHumans if you like. You don't have to create one, or you can in the MetaHuman creator you can also use these as the starting bases and then tweak them and edit them as well, which I kind of did. I just took Omar, which is over here, and just turned him bold, which we got here. There we go. So for this character, so there's one here. I've got two, so I'm gonna just take this first one and I've have it medium optimized, right? I'm going to say add to my scene. Now we're going to have to do you might have to do some blender. You don't need to follow along, or you can take it into Cinema 4D, Maya, whatever 3D application you've got. I've already pressed add. It should appear here now, MetaHuman folder. There we go, and we have our blueprint. So I'm going to drag this into our world. Give it a second. It will take a second. It may say shaders compiling. If it freezes, give it some time to think. I'm going to reset those values of the location back to 0. And you can see we have a MetaHuman in place. Now, there is another app that you can close your MetaHumans in, and that's what I'll probably do with this character. So that's why it's got no close. I do have another one that have the MetaHuman close, but for some reason, there's cloth physics on there, whatever it is, cloth simulation, and the hoodie just bounces so much around. So yeah, I'll import different clothing for the character. Anyway, enough about that. So let's start sorting out these folders for this character. So this is we called it. I'll just call this main character horror, and I'm just going to make a new folder, and I'll call this Mixamo. So this is what I want to import all my Mixamo animations into here. I'm going to also make a new one, and this one will be MH performance, the MetaHuman performance. All right. I want another folder which will be the retargeted animations that we do. Retarget. So when we take the Mixamo, we retarget the animations, and we're gonna get some for our skeleton here for our that's using our meta skeleton. So we're transferring this animation to another. I'll show you that in a second anyway. Um, and then we make another folder. I'll just call this level sequence um, animations. All right, because we're going to make our own animation, then we'll turn it into a montage. So we'll blend a couple of animation, a couple of the Mixamo animations together to create a montage. Then we'll use that to trigger. So when we press E on our character, we'll trigger the montage rather than triggering a level sequence. You can trigger a level sequence and play that if you want. So there's different ways of doing it, but I'm going to do it that way for now. Okay, so we have a level sequence. Oh yeah, and one more for audio. Audio, audio. Right, so this is going to be the audio track for my character talking. So I'll import that in first. So I'll just go to my music folder here and drag the WAV file in. So I just used, on record sound. Is it sound record? Yeah, so I just use this software, sound record, it's built into Windows. Just stick a mic in your PC, record some sound. Or you can use your phone, record something, say something, and then import that in. Or whatever application you use to record audio, or you can get your source from somewhere else. But if I hit play,
Hello there.
yeah, there you go. I don't like to hear myself, but there you go. We got a clip of me talking. So we're going to apply that audio to get the human performance from the audio. You can use like if you have an iPhone or something like that, you can use the Unreal app and record the data and get like depth and stuff like this, and it's probably better. Or you can use the AR kit. It's just a bit more setting up, and it's a different way of doing it. It's just quicker. Just drop an audio file and you'll see. Anyway, enough of me talking. What we want to do before we get into the animations, we want to take our mesh and we want to export this out so we can get this working in Mixamo nicely. So it makes the retargeting a lot easier for us. So I'm going to go File, Export Selected. Let me just stick it somewhere. I'll put in my downloads and I'll call this MH Export. Alright, MetaHuman Export. Save. Make sure this is on 2018. Export that. And I'll minimize. I'll just open up Blender. There we go. Blender. And I'm going to go File. I'll delete everything in the scene. And then I'll just go File. Import. FBX. And then it's in my downloads. And it's called MH. So if I type in MH. Oh, I wish that when you type a letter, it would actually jump to it, but it doesn't. Anyway, that's fine. I'll just have to scroll. MH. There's an MH export. There we go. Import. And you'll see, if we zoom in here, we have the armature, which is all the skeleton, the rigging. It's insane if you take a look at it. There's a lot going on there, right? On that rigging, Even the eyelashes or the eyelids or whatever, everything's got crazy rigging. Anyway, but it's amazing what they do. We just want the mesh, right? We don't want. Make sure you select just the mesh. Don't select any of the armature or the skeleton. And we don't even need to select the flip flops. We're gonna go File, Export. We're gonna export this out again as an FBX. I'll put it back in my downloads. Selected. Make sure selected is exported. I'll says export Mixamo. Mixamo. This is for Mixamo, so I know that's the export for Mixamo. Alright, export that. And it takes 2 seconds, then I can close this, and that's done. Now if I go to Mixamo website, what I want to do is upload a character to replace this. So I'm going to say upload character, and you're going to drag and drop that file that the export Mixamo FBX into here, right? Like so. Give it a few minutes to process. My internet's not the fastest. Do 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 do. There we go. So I'm gonna hit next, and then it will tell you here. You can see where you're supposed to, what you're supposed to do. So it says drag the chin to the chin, the wrist to the wrist, elbow to elbow, knee to knee, and wait, make sure that's on the knee, and then the groin to the groin. There we go. And then when you hit next, it says it can take up to 2 minutes. Let this just kind of cook in the microwave. It looks like a microwave. It's just spinning around in the microwave. Anyway, let it do its thing. Grab yourself a cup of drink. I don't know, a cup of water. Maybe you can make a tea, depending on how long this takes, but it shouldn't take long. There we go. Yeah, it says loading. There we go. He's ready. So go next. Okay, next. So now we have the character there, and we're going to choose some animations to go for it. So let's get an idle animation. So let's say standing. Let's start with standing. So we want a standing animation. So there's this kind of standing. Maybe characters standing like this. Or you can do idle. Is it idle? Did I spell idle right? There we go. Some idle animations. Maybe we want him breathing. You can go through and pick different ones. Maybe I'll do something different from what I did before. So maybe I'll go for this one. So that'll just loop until we got to him and press E, then it'll trigger our animation, which will then they start talking and moving around or whatever they want, and then when they finish, they go back into this idle mode. So I'm gonna say let's do this one. This is very different. So I'm gonna set this to 60 and say download. Okay, and that just downloaded. And now what I want is talking. So there's some talking gesture ones in here. There's a few. So depending on the height, are they talking down? Maybe this is a giant talking down. Depends. Maybe they're yelling. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they're very disappointed. There's quite a few. Let's get this one. So this talking one here. So download. And I'll get this one here. Download. So we have three different animations. So we have an idle, talking, talking. Maybe we'll get one more. Let's get breathing. Breathing. Let's get this breathing one. So when maybe they're not gesturing, they're just this little subtle animation that's happening in between. So let's get that as well. Cool. So let's close this. Now let's go back into our project and go into our folder here. And in the Mixamo folder, we want to drag our animations in. So this is the idle animation. I'm going to press import. Alright, and then again, I'll do it for the talking, import. And the other talking one, import. And then breathing, import. I haven't changed any settings, so just press import, okay? Now all of these materials you don't really need, it doesn't matter. We don't, it doesn't even, it might complain, but that's fine. We don't need those materials. Make it a lot easier. So you can see all the green ones are the sequences. So if you double click, you can see the animation sequence here. And then maybe I want to check loop on that because I want the breathing one to be a loopable one. And the idle one as well. So this idle one, I just hit loop on there as well because that's a kind of a looping one. But we're going to create montages from these. So first we have to retarget them. I'm jumping ahead of everything. So let's start with our idle. Right. We're going to say retarget animation, and we're going to choose the idle. This is the one we want to read the animation, and we want to say our skeletal mesh is our MetaHuman. So this is our MetaHuman, and you can see that's working nicely. Export animation, and remember that retarget folder we created in our folder structure here. So I'm gonna save it into the retarget export. There it goes. So now what I'm gonna do is just close this, but you'll notice every time the retarget animation is gonna minimize and I have to pop it open again, right? So I'll just pop it back open and do the other animation. So example, the breathing idle, export, and hit export, export again, and now apply it pops down, and then open up the retarget animation window again. It's annoying that it keeps on minimizing rather than staying open, or even if it was on another screen, but I'll just hit export again. Export animation. So now we have three, and we'll do the last one, which is this. Export, export, export. Now we have four different animations we can use, right? So we can close this retarget animation, and we can close the little bridge, pop up. There we go. So what we want to do is get these animations into a level sequence, right? So in our actually, before we do that, let's create our performance. Let's create the head performance so we do it all in one, right? So we just have it all working one time before we go create the animation. So let's do the head now. So we have our Mixamo sorted and retargeted animations ready. Go into MH performance folder. We're going to create a MetaHuman performance. So go to MetaHuman animator, and then we want a MetaHuman performance. And you can name this what you want. So I'm just going to say me underscore MetaHuman performance. Double click this. Now, like I said, if you use footage using the Epic app, with the depth and stuff, then you could use this. I'm using audio, and it'll be the audio hello there, which we imported in. So if you hit play,
Hello there.
there you go. So that's the audio file. And we're going to say watch mesh, which will be our MetaHuman mesh, which is this face mesh. I'm gonna hit yes. There we go. Now, if you hit play, you won't see the lips moving. You need to hit process first. So hit process. Yeah, it won't take long. It's actually really fast. And now if I go back, hit play.
Hello there. Looks like you're lost.
So you can see. So you can go through and check the animation. Um, See if it look how you if you're happy with that. If you are, hit save, export animation. I'll export it to this performance folder and I'll leave it as it is. Save. Great. There we go. So now in our folder, if I go content, you can see we have the MetaHuman animation for our head created. So now we should be able to go to our level sequence animation. This is where we're going to save the sequence. So we're going to go up here, add a new level sequence, and it's going to say where do you want to save this level sequence, right? And that's going to be that new folder we created, level sequence animations. And I'll just call this animation 001. I'm going to take that blueprint character and drop him in. Okay. Now you'll notice the rig. Now you can animate without, you don't need to use Mixamo and stuff. You can animate in here. So if you wanted the character to, keyframe, um, the head going, entirely up to you. Maybe, I don't know. It's you can do that. But for this, we're gonna import our animations. Um, but you can keyframe all of this. That's cool. That's just cool. I'm gonna delete the rig on the body and I'll hit the plus, go to animation, and I will choose our happy idol, for example. So we started in the happy idol, um, and then, or should we? No, no, let's not start in the happy idol. You can use whatever you want, but animation, let's do breathing. So we start in breathing, and it's quite long, so I need to extend the timeline. So let's say 40. Right, about 40 should be okay. And I'll bring this over here, somewhere here. And I'll just chop this down. So first, second and a half, we're in this kind of breathing mode. I'm gonna just kind of put blend on the end of each of these, so you can see it'll blend in and blend out. Okay, so actually maybe we don't want to blend out. Let's like this. There we go. Actually, no, that should blend in that because we'll have a montage anyway. So as the starting pose. Anyway, so we go here. So kind of breathe in, and then we're gonna add another animation. Where's the talking? So down here, talking. They make a gesture. I don't know. Can blend this in. I'm like, hey, whatever. Blah 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 blah. I can blend this out. Now it'd be easier if we have the audio and the head and stuff moving, so we can do that too. So let's delete the face rig. The same way we did the body animation, we just bring in our animation for our MetaHuman performance that we processed. And of course, you want to make sure that starts at the start of your timeline, right? Over here. So now you can see the characters talking, blah blah blah, but you can't hear it, right? So to one way you can do this, just add audio track, hit yes, that's fine, and then go hello there. So now if I hit play,
Hello there. Looks like you're lost. This place is called.
there you go. So I'm going to mute myself because I don't want to hear it right now. But yeah, so you can sync up your audio with make sure that they are as close as possible when you're syncing that up. Um, and then that you get a better result. But all I'm going to do now is just go through this timeline. So it's quite a long, long bit of me. It's a long clip, audio clip. So what I'm going to do is add the rest of the animation in here. So I'll go to about here, body, add animation, talking free, and let's zoom in here so you can see, and go like this. And now I have this in here, and maybe this here. Now what I can do is say, okay, duplicate this, bring this down here. Maybe I'll extend this a little bit. Um, and then, we go here and we can say bring in the happy idle one, which is kind of weird that we have that one in there, but for that they're happy. But we can bring it in. So now I can go, ooh, talking. Is it? And then we can go back again to the breathing. So, or maybe we'll go back into a different talking one. So maybe we'll go back into this gesture. So then we're going to go back into there and bring this back in. Let's overlap that more. There we go. And then duplicate. And maybe I'll just drag this. I'll just be a bit lazy and just drag this one straight to the end. So it just breathes all the way through. Like so. So I can run through, just hit play. Oh, so it did look like a jump there. Let's see. Bit of a jump. So maybe try to get a better overlap. See how that looks. Let's hit play from over here. Yeah, it's okay. Just run through and then we'll see maybe this one. It's a bit weird that it just goes into all happy for some bizarre reason. And then let's blend that. Oops, I moved the audio track. It doesn't matter actually too much. The audio will trigger separately in the blueprint. There we go. And then kind of just stay still now. Okay, but you get the idea. We can create that. So now we have this kind of animation that we've created by like putting all these sequences together. And what we can do is we can just say export, and in here, oh, not export, sorry, wrong one. Bake animation sequence. And then you're going to choose the folder. So I'm just going to go to character, and I'll just do it in the MetaHuman performance. No, actually not in the. I don't want to mix it up in there. Let's just call it retard. Let's put in our retarget, and we'll just call this MetaHuman baked sequence. So just change that to baked. So we know that's our MetaHuman baked sequence. Export animation, and that should be ready. There we go. So now we can close this. If you want to save your sequence, if you want to come back and edit that later, that animation, and then re-export that, you can. Or maybe you want to trigger the sequence itself. The shoes I want to get rid of. I don't know why they come off our feet, but let's get rid of those. Let's just go into the blueprint of the character, go to feet, and we can just reset that. So now the shoes are gone. I'm gonna hit save. Compile, save, give it a second. I don't know why it's the first time it always goes very slow. Whenever I'll get rid of the shoes, the flip-flops. It's always shoes, weird. Okay, so let's go back to our content. So anyway, we've got this animation level sequence done, and if we go to retarget, we have all these animations. So there's our baked one, and then these are our standard one. So we really need two. So I want to take this one. This will be like our idle state before we hit E. And then our baked one, of course, which would be this one. So we're going to make two montages. So I'm going to say right click, create animation montage. And then that's the happy idle. If I double click, I'm going to just check loop on this and then hit save. Right. And then on the MetaHuman baked, I'm going to say again, create animation montage. This one we don't need to loop. So these are the two montages we want to be calling. Okay, so let's go to our blueprint character, edit blueprint. On the body, we're going to need to say set the collision because right now it doesn't have no collision. So I'm just going to say block all dynamic. Okay, and on the main top here, up here, I'm going to change where it says use animation blueprint. I'm going to change this to use animation assets. All right. So if I go to body, I'm going to go here, use animation assets, and I'm going to assign happy idle montage. Right. And there you can see, and you see how the feet are much more better than that first version I showed you at the start. Because I didn't retarget to this mesh, I just kind of just took the Mixamo because I was just rushing through. But if you take the time to export your mesh and then retarget it correctly, you won't run into those issues. You know, so that's just one thing to pay attention to. Okay, so you can see now we've just got this. If I hit compile, give it a second. Do save. We go play. Now we got the character just kind of doing his thing. Like, eh. Okay, so what I want to do is also I want to go to the MetaHuman performance and I want to make a montage out of this. So I'm going to say create a montage because remember we want one for the face as well. Okay, let's go back into our blueprint here. So we're going to go to our event graph and what we want to do is say add our BPI interaction. So we want to be able to interact with it. So we need to say implement interface. So BPI interaction. And if I double click this, there's our event. I'll bring this up here. Okay. And off of this, I want to say play. Actually, I want to say branch. All right. And then off of this one, say play montage. All right. Now you have to say what the skeleton component is, which is our body. Can I actually no? So it's the body. So yeah, the body, and drop that on, and the montage. Oh yeah, because we're gonna do the head as well. The montage is going to be the baked. So this is our baked metahuman sequence. So if it's true, we want it to play. All right. I'm gonna create a variable down here. So if someone spams this, for example, if I was to delete this and just go here, what we don't want is someone spam the character and then it keeps on restarting. So if I go up to it, can you see it just keeps on starting. So we just want it to play once you interact, it starts playing and they can't trigger it until it's finished and then they can play again. So let's go back into our blueprint anyway. So that's why we have the branch. Oh, I just deleted the branch, but let's bring that back in. Branch. So I'm gonna put true. Hopefully this works. So it fires to the branch. Branch will say true, and the variable we're gonna check if it's busy or not. So if this is playing, we're gonna, so if this played, if it's played, so it will fire. We're gonna set this. So let's call this busy. Is busy. Busy. We're checking if it's busy. Um, so we're gonna set this. It's busy. Okay. And then we're gonna also get another one. So Control C, Control V. And then we did the opposite on blend out. So when it finishes on the way out, we just want to uncheck that. So then we can press it again. Let's see if this works. It may not work. I don't know. We can open the blueprint and have it side by side here so we can see if it's working. Play. E. Some reason from the true, I didn't see the simulation happen. Is it because the condition I didn't set by default here? And there's this. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, so it played the montage, and then if I press E again, oh no, it's not doing it. So wait, my condition is that. Oh, is it the other way around? Compile and save. Got my boolean mixed up. Let's see. I always get this part messed up. So it plays. Oh, why are you always playing? Eh. Oh, because the condition, I haven't set the condition. My fault. Silly me. Say get. So we want to get the condition from what we set this, right? Um, compile, save, play. So now we press E. So I might have to set the first set this. Compile, save. So I'll set the default value. Let's see if it works. E. So that plays. Now it won't work. There we go. I got my boolean wrong, but you can see. So I set my default. Make sure it's checked here, and then it's busy. So when it's not busy, it should uncheck. Let's see. Wait for it to finish. So we just wait. So it's gone into the breathing mode, and then it will probably go back into some weird T-pose, right? Let's see. Because the animation finishes, it will go into a T-pose. There we go. So we know it's finished. So if I hit E, yeah, then it triggers. So we know this is now working. So what I should have done, I always mess up my logic with these. Getting the true or false right or wrong. But set this to default. So the default, make sure that's checked, and true, uncheck, and then check this, and then that should be right. True or false. So false, it won't fire to anything. Okay. So now we've got to do the face. All right. So we need to get the face, and we're gonna say play montage off of this, and this can also say true. Oh, it won't do that because we need a sequence then. Sequence in between because we're gonna need 3 of these like that. So that will goes into there, that to there, like so. Actually, we need 4. We're gonna need 4. Let me put this montage up here. Put the face up here. 4. So we want one to go back to an idle state. So after it plays this, I need another montage for it to go back to loop on itself. But yeah, anyway, from this one, let's just say um, spawn sound, that location. Our location is the face, so let's get the face. Get world location, and we just pipe that into here. and the sound is the hello. Um, and I'll set this to voice on the phone. You can make a separate preset or setting for your sound. I'm just reusing the one that we used on the phone in previous videos. Okay, so when this fires, I guess when this fires out, I want the looping montage, right, to come back. So after this finishes, this animation finishes, I want it to trigger. So let's go play montage. Maybe come out of this, play montage, because on the blend out, and the skeleton's the body. Oh, there we go. And this is the idle. We want the happy idle. And when it's blending out, so I want, it won't let me loop it to say play again, right? Because it's already linked to there. So actually what I'll do is a sequence. It's kind of a little bit silly. Is this right? Yeah, sequence, yeah. Sequence. No, I want a sequence. I need two sequences. Oh, this is silly. There's sure there's a better way of doing it. So a sequence, and then I could do in a custom event out. I can just do another sequence. So like I said, let's just do a sequence for now, and then I'm gonna just pipe this back into here, into here. Yeah. Wait, can I go? Let me just disconnect this. Can I? I'll keep that sequence there. Can I go from here to here? Oh, okay, so we don't need that then. Cool. But yeah, I don't like that loop. I don't like this loop. So on blend out, it'll just fire itself again and say play this again, and just that will loop. Um, so we didn't say the head, so we need to assign the head, the MetaHuman head. So that'll play the body, the head, and the voice together. When it's finished, go back into this idle montage. Yeah, hopefully that works. Let's hit save. Sorry, it was a bit confusing. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm sure there's a better workflow than this. I'll probably, if I do, I'll make another video when I find out. But so far, this seems to be working. So just loop in there, loop in if I walk around, go up to it, E,
Hello there.
starts
Looks like you're
talking.
lost. This place is called the test environment. It's no ordinary realm. It feeds on curiosity. It thrives on your fears. You feel it already, don't you? The cold, crawling deep within your skin. Don't worry though, you're not the only player here. Nah, you're the prey, but don't worry, you're not alone. They're always watching us. Always watching. Waiting. The question is, will you survive the experiment? Try not to die, okay? Bye.
Hi. Do. Then if I go back, I press it again, E.
Hello there. Looks like you're lost.
So
This
it
place
will
is
only
called the
trigger
test
once,
environment. It's no
which
ordinary
is
realm.
brilliant. Alright, so it does work. So it is working how we expect it to work. So animation finishes, it goes back into idle mode. So pretty much keep it like this. I'm going to save file, save scene as, so save current level as this test meta. Okay, so this is just our test scene here. Now we can go back into our world, open level, third person blueprint, save selected, boom. Um, we can go into this, change the lighting a little bit. You can pick a spot where you want to stick the character. Maybe you want to put them in that room. Uh, so let's go to our character folder here, blueprint. There we go. You belong in prison, mate, over here. For not wearing any t-shirt. There we go. Maybe we want to put a little light in here. Oh, point light. Where is it gone? That's very strong. Put it somewhere up here. Cool. And I'll just bring that down. Now I'm just being extra, and then we should go red. Yeah, let's go red. There we go. So I've got this little room. We hit play. Let's see if we can trigger the character through looking through the bars. If it actually works, I doubt it because it's probably the bounding box of the door. Yes, it's the bounding box of the door. If I did a more complicated mesh, then that allowed me to do that. Anyway, that's fine.
Hello there. Looks like you're lost. This place is called the test environment. It's no ordinary realm. It feeds on curiosity. It thrives on your fears.
Eh,
You feel it already, don't you?
goodbye.
Cold.
Is he still talking? So I noticed that as well. He stopped talking. So if you have that issue, well, I've noticed on the audio file here, you can go to virtualization. So if you type in virtualization, I'm not sure what causes that. I'll just say play when silent, and hit save, and that seems to fix the issue on this. But I'm not sure why I'll get that issue. Um, but now if we go to it, do do do. So if we go up to the character, let's get the key, open the door.
Hello there. Looks like you're lost.
I'll walk away, come back,
It feeds on curiosity.
go away, take a hold. Let's jump on this platform, easier, quicker. Go back down. I still need a sound for this. Let's go back.
You're not alone. There
You're
are always
still
more
talking?
players.
There you go. But there you go. So we have something anyway. So we have a MetaHuman that we can put in our world,
Okay.
and they'll talk rubbish when you go up to them. They'll talk rubbish, and they got little animation of them moving. Um, so I mean that's one way of doing it. If you just don't want, it's the most basic way of doing it. I'd
Hello
assume.
there. Looks like
Um,
you're lost.
yeah. So that's just one of the most basic ways. Hopefully, I'll do some research about doing like proper dialogue setup and what's the best way. Actually, yeah, what's the best way to do it? I'm sure there is better ways than doing it like this with the montage. Um, but thank you again. I hope you had a great day and this was some use.
Bye.
Bye. Bye for now. Oh yeah, and thank you again. Anyway, thank you everyone for those subscribing and stuff. Because if I pull it up, we're slowly but surely growing. So I want to thank everyone again for that. If I go here, how do you pull it up? There's a little button that you pull. Press. There we go. So yeah, we've been slowly growing. So I appreciate the subscription, the subscribe, hitting subscribe. We're slowly getting there. So thank you again, and bye bye. What's he dancing around for, eh? It's locked on him. Bye.